Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of Season 1 of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. I know I'm kind of late on the boat on this one, but I've been watching Arrow. I'm just now nearing the end of Arrow Season 4, so starting to catch up slowly but surely. And of course, the Season 4, going through Season 4 of that, I knew that's when the spin off Legends of Tomorrow started, so I decided it was about time for me to check that out. And I don't watch The Flash or anything like that, but I still make sure to watch like both Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow's side of the crossovers, and sometimes I guess I will have to watch part of The Flashes just to get the whole spin on everything. But Arrow is a show I enjoy quite a bit. Minus all the Felicity stuff, I think season 3 was actually pretty good, and I think season 4 has been fine so far as well overall. But I gotta say, I will do a review on season 4 when I'm done, of course. But I gotta say, season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow I enjoyed quite a bit. I will say I probably do like this more than season 4 of Arrow thus far. It is pretty close. It's kind of different types of stories in the same universe, sometimes anyway. um, but Legends of Tomorrow, of course, it's like this big crossover show initially because it brings in characters from the Flash, and you have a character like Sarah Lance, Caity Lotz, from Arrow. And then you have Ray Palmer also from Arrow, who is introduced in season 3 and such. And then of course like you have your Captain Cold and Mick Rory and stuff around who are continuing villains on the Flash. And basically it turns into be this like big time traveling adventure, really, with them, being banded together to stop this guy named Vandal Savage. Vandal Savage we do run into on Arrow. He's this supposedly immortal, guy from ancient times, just trying, he's destined to, take over the earth and everything. So this guy named Rip Hunter shows up to try and bring these people together because they're seemingly, destined to do this. They're seemingly destined to be, legends, right? But there's more to it than that, of course, and of course, Rip doesn't necessarily tell me like the full details of why all this is happening. That's kind of the premise of this, and so they're basically trying to catch this guy following me around, trying to pull out the rug from under him essentially any way they can to try and set the timeline right. We hear of these people called Time Masters, who try and keep everything in order, so things don't get screwed up, but they turned out to be corrupt as hell. So I really, really liked Legends of Tomorrow, actually. Excuse me. Why I was initially interested in it, was because I do like Arrow, so I figured I should give it a shot, but also, Sarah, being on here, the White Canary now. I really, really liked her on Arrow. I always thought, Caity Lotz is a, pretty good actress on it. And, I was pissed like everyone else when they killed her off. So when they brought her back and, made her the female lead of her, of this spin-off show, I definitely had to check it out, and she's awesome on there. I really like, Sarah on here. She's probably my favorite character. But I didn't expect to actually, get to like the whole team as much as I did either, I forgot to talk more about him in my season 3 review, but I do like Brandon Routh, or Routh, however you pronounce his names, Ray Palmer, the Atom. I think he does a pretty good job as well. But I was surprised by how much I liked, Captain Cold, Leonard Snart, and Mick Rory. The villains, from the Flash. Of course, they're both on Prison Break. They're both known for that. Wentworth Miller and Dominic Purcell, which is another show I haven't watched before, so I'll probably end up watching that at some point. But like I said, I haven't seen a lot of the Flash. But based on this, they're a little bit cheesy. Parts of the show are a bit cheesy. It is more like campy than typical episodes of Arrow. But I think it does sort of recognize that about itself, and it sort of goes with it in a way. And at first, although like Leonard Snart, the voice that Wentworth Miller uses for the character, it can be a bit distracting. He's like, "Oh, look at me, I'm a villain," or things like that. The tone's kind of a bit too cheesy at first, but he ends up being a really really compelling character actually, and one of my favorite members of the team besides Sarah. Arguably, him and Mick actually got the most development. The story between them and them getting integrated in the group, them starting to care more than they ever planned on. And I really liked it. Showing Leonard's touches of humanity here and there. Him eventually realizing there might be more that he wants out of life than just being a robber of ATM, right? So I actually think he ended up being a really well written character, and his voice, you kind of get used to it, and he does still have like these quieter, more character driven moments as well. And then you have like Hawk Girl and Hawkman and Carter and Kendra. They were okay. They're sort of directly tied to Vandal Savage from the ancient times and such. They've been fighting back and forth with them for millenniums now or whatever, and they always end up getting killed by him. So they're kind of part of stopping them or stopping him. I thought they were okay. I think they were kind of the weakest part of the show, or at least as far as the team goes. They're kind of the least interesting characters to me, but I thought they were all right. And we'll talk about Vandal Savage as a villain in a second, but I did actually really like Martin Stein, the professor, as well as Jefferson, Firestorm. I think the guy who plays Martin Stein, Victor Garber, I think his name is. Let's see. Yep. I think he does a really good job, actually, and even though I know they were introduced on The Flash, I did start to buy into, their sort of father-son dynamic they have going on, and they can have some, fun back and forth as well, some jabs at each other, too. So I think they were also really a good part of the show. Arthur Darvill's Rip Hunter, he's sort of kind of our lead character, but in a way not, just because we know Sarah so well already. But I thought he was a fine leader, for this team on the show. He's not like I won't say he's like the best actor or anything, but I definitely think he's an enjoyable character, and you do get to care more about him, and you buy more into Arthur Darvill's performance as it goes along. When you find out about his family being killed and everything like that, so it shows more and more flashbacks of that. And just something else I want to praise before we talk about Vandal Savage is just like the scope of the show, like this huge, time traveling quest they're on. I got a sense of, the urgency. I got a sense of how big of a thing this is that they're trying to stop. So I think the show definitely succeeded on that end. But Vandal Savage himself as a villain, I thought he was okay. He's sort of, he's not the best villain we've seen on these CW shows. He's sort of a typical bad guy in a way. Oh, I'm evil and I want to take over the world. I want to rule the world. I'm not good, so stop me. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. He is a bit cheesy, but he was serviceable, I think. The actor did an alright job for the type of role it was, I guess. But he definitely doesn't live up to like your Deathstrokes or like your Malcolm Merlins or anything like that. I even think Damien Dark's a more interesting villain to watch. But again, he was serviceable to the story they're trying to tell in this season, so I didn't really have an issue with him. I just recognized that he wasn't like really more than a one-note villain, really. So there's just so much to say about it. It definitely has a fun setup. Them having to go to different time periods and everything. That's just like asking for some fun episodes, and it has. There's an episode where they're in like the 50s or 60s or something, and so you get all of them trying to run around, but they get more integrated into like the ongoings of that time period. It can be quite fun. Sarah starts becoming interested in this nurse and everything. I thought that was kind of sweet. And Sarah, she also has, some issues with her, bloodlust and everything like that, which is kind of weird because, We had thought that she was restored fully by Constantine on Arrow. I was kind of confused about that, but it's, kind of still a cool character dynamic to see her have to struggle with something like that. She definitely has some badass scenes. Really think it was a good call to have, Caity Lotz, sort of have her own show like this. And her eventual bond with Snart I thought was really nice as well. And again, I want to praise, Mick, Rory, and Snart here. Their dynamic I thought was really a lot of fun, but also it became the most, felt part of the show, I thought. From when it looks like Cold has to put down Rory, for the team and everything, to both of them caring about whether they want to or not, to Rory being brainwashed to be this bounty hunter that's after him, Kronos. To Snart's sacrifice at the end of the season or within the final 2 episodes. There are no strings on me. And him and Sarah share a kiss and everything like that. It definitely reached a high point. I was surprised how much I ended up caring by the end of the season about them. And I have a touching moment where Rory goes back in time, to just get a chance to have a drink with Snart on one of their, just nights out together before a robbery or something. It was really touching. It definitely got me in the feels. I definitely hope we see Snart return again. It is a bummer that he was, killed off. But he definitely went out in a really cool way, destroying the timekeepers and everything like that. Excuse me. But I don't know, it just seemed kind of odd that they developed him so much and then, boom, he's off the show. But I do think he does appear later on, though. Yeah, I've seen some articles about Wentworth Miller coming back and everything, so I hope they fully integrate him on the show again, but I'm kind of worried that they won't. Yeah, so overall, I thought this is a really fun show, a really enjoyable first season for sure. There's definitely a lot of different types of enjoyment to be found out of this, I think. They even even having like the Atom, becoming like a giant and then fighting this robot of savages and everything like that. I thought that was fun too. It actually looked halfway decent, for the budget they probably have. So yeah, there's just a lot I could say about it. I'm sure there's plenty that I forgot about. I even really like that episode where they go to Star City in the future if they don't stop Savage, and it's just in complete anarchy, complete chaos. We get to see Stephen Amell, appear as an older Oliver Queen with one arm, like The Dark Knight Returns. That was a really cool episode. I just wish they would have had Sarah have more of a goodbye to the rest of the Arrow characters before she went onto this show. It just seemed like they kind of brushed that under the rug because they didn't want to, anger the Felicity fans or something. But it was still nice, the brief little moments they had together in that, episode they did. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. If I had to rate it, I'd rate it probably like a B+ or something like that. I thought it was a really enjoyable show so far. I know they just finished season 2. It should be coming on Netflix soon, and I will probably start watching that pretty quickly. But yeah, anyway, guys thought about it. If there's anything else you want me to touch on, feel free to, and we'll talk more about it. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.